Video. Okay, good chairman.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Our affiliates of the Rugby Union. I want to welcome you to this annual general meeting of the members of the Kenya Rugby Union. I want to start by just apologizing for the slightly late start. We were just having technology issues getting everything up and running. And I do hope that, that you can hear me pretty well. And it's a real pleasure to see all of you, and I hope you and your members of your clubs are staying safe and observing different protocols as set out by the Ministry of Health. I'm just going to ask our Honorary Secretary to confirm that we are quorate, and then we can then start the formal meeting. We'll start with, after he confirms that, we'll have an opening prayer and, so one of the volunteers, and then for AGM. And just for housekeeping, I think let's use the chat function and the hand up function so that we can have order in terms of how we handle the deliberations. You'll appreciate we're not in one room, so we don't want a situation where everyone is trying to catch my attention, but use the chat function, then I'll certainly accord an opportunity to him to comment on the matters. So, Honorary Secretary, over to you. Please confirm that we have quorum.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, members of the board and affiliates. I can confirm that we have quorum and we can kick off the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorary Secretary. At this juncture, I think we normally start our meetings with a word of prayer, and I'll probably invite someone from the audience. You can just indicate on the chat function if you're volunteering to handle that on behalf of the meeting. Any volunteer? If I recall, Chairman of Stormers, is he on the call? He normally offers us a very encouraging word of prayer. So I don't know if he's with us this afternoon.
Let's bow down and pray. Heavenly Almighty Father, we come to you this afternoon to thank you for the gift of life and covering us throughout the day. As we embark on this AGM, we ask that your Holy Spirit intervenes and watches over the motions, and at the same time give us guidance on what we'll deliberate for the goodness of the sport. We pray this short prayer, trusting and believing in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Paris. Now, at this juncture, we'll invite our Honorary Secretary to read the formal notice of the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman. Notice is hereby given that the annual general meeting of the Kenya Rugby Union shall be held on Wednesday, 29th July 2020 at 3 p.m. The meeting will be held virtually and the link will be shared closer to the date of the meeting. I believe this is already done. So agenda. First one is to confirm the minutes of the last annual general meeting held on 20th March 2019 and the special general meeting held on Wednesday, 20th November 2019. Second is to receive and consider the board's report for 2019. Third is to receive and consider for adoption the audited financial statements for 2019. Fourth is to appoint auditors for the forthcoming year. Fifth is any other business for which due notice has been given. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. I think we'll go straight to the first agenda item, which is the confirmation of the minutes. And again, I'll hand over to the Secretary to just take us through the minutes of those two meetings, which happened in the course of last year. Again, I welcome you to use the chat function for us to be able to coordinate smoothly. But I must admit, I'm very encouraged by the attendance. I can see a large number of the clubs from across the country have already dived into the call, and this is very, very encouraging. It shows the great interest that we all have in the game so long. So, Honorary Secretary, as soon as we're ready, take it away.
If you could just please put them up so that we're all on the same page. Thank you, Combo. Perhaps you could scroll into the minutes themselves, the agenda items. Thank you. So minute one was confirmation of the minutes of the AGM of 21st of March 2018. The minutes were confirmed as a true record of the last AGM. They were proposed by Impala and seconded by non-scripts RFC. Minute two, the AGM. The board report was previously circulated to the members and a copy had been uploaded on the KRU website. The CEO presented a summarized version of the report to the membership. It was suggested that in meeting, KRU should give clear roadmap for coaching, strength, and conditioning. There was need for better coordination between training, education, and capacity building for all coaches. The chair also informed members that they were all aware what had happened in Paris, and clearly some of the sponsors were not pleased with KRU, but determined to ensure that such a situation does not happen again. Minute three of the AGM was audited financial statements adoption. The accounts were circulated to all the members before the AGM, and it was also updated on the KRU website. The honorary treasurer presented the accounts to the members. He informed members from of the withdrawal of some of the sponsors, KRU had embarked on some cost-cutting measures to ensure all the union activities go on as planned. He also reported that KRU was determined to bring in more sponsors. The auditor, PKF, agreed that the accounts represented a fair and accurate statement of KRU accounts as at 31st December 2018. He was satisfied with the plans KRU had put in place to ensure more income is generated, more so from Safari Sevens and international matches. As of the issues raised by the members on the gate collection, jersey sales, women's rugby, administrative costs, computer expenses, marketing fees, legal fees, catering, and bank service charges. The honorary explained explicitly how tough the year had been, and he indicated harassment from auctioneers, resignation of the CEO, unfulfilled pledges from many sponsors, and the continuous rise of food prices as part of the reasons. He assured the members that a list of debtors and gate collection details for international matches was available for all the members to see. The information was also circulated as agreed in the meeting. Non-DRC proposed and Kitale seconded the adoption of account. Minute 4 of the AGM, PKF was a top-class audit firm and they had expressed willingness to continue as auditors. The chair ruled that the board to determine their fate and also the cost on which they charge a union for the services. Minute 5 of the KRU AGM was election of office bearers, that is a chairman and 4 directors. The chair informed members that KRU had written to the Sports Disputes Tribunal to offer guidance in terms of the limits of the elected office bearers in line with the KRU Constitution and the Sports Act. The board was mandated to go back to the Sports Tribunal and seek further clarification, which will be shared to the membership. The election was supervised by officials from the IEBC, Mr. Simoto, and 2 other IEBC officials. Voted started at 5:30 p.m. and counting commenced at 6 p.m. The results of the elections are as below. Odur Gangla, 33 votes for chairman, Sasha Mutai, 20 votes, chairman, and Bob Asiko, 2 votes. Thus, Gangla was elected chairman. Directors, John Kilonzo, 32 votes, Raymond Orlando, 28 votes, Moses Ndale, 26 votes, Kechi Kombo, 25 votes, Ian Mugambi, 23 votes, Ezekiel Award, 22 votes, Ken Thimba, 18 votes, Paris Mukoko, 13 votes, Angela Olum, 10 votes, Sarah Otieno, 5 votes. The IBC returning officer declared Geoffrey Gangla as chairman, John Kilonzo, Raymond Orlando, Moses Ndale, and Kechi Kombo as duly elected directors. They were duly elected and validly elected to the Kenya Rugby Union Board. Minute 6 of the AGM was appointment of additional members to the Appeal Council. Pursuant to Section 11 of the KRU Constitution, Hinga Wayaki was unanimously accepted to be in the Appeals Council. Minute 7 was any other business. I would propose that unless there are any issues, perhaps we could take this we could adopt them by exception, such that if there are any matters arising, we bring them to the fore. Would that be agreeable to the members? Any matters arising from the minutes or any queries that need clarification? Thank you, Bob. I note nothing from Impala. If there are no matters arising, perhaps could we have someone to oppose and someone to second?
Kiambu Rugby proposes the adoption of the minutes.
Asante sana Chege. Do we have someone to second?
Homeboys will second.
Thank you very much. So proposed by Kiambu, seconded by Homeboy. Back to you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And having gone through that, just to confirm, Home Secretary, that covered both the two meetings, isn't it? If I'm correct.
Yes, the minutes for the SGM had been circulated towards the adoption of PKF as the auditor. So those were circulated well in advance and have been covered as well. So that would cover both.
Thank you. Thank you, members, and thanks for the. I've seen quite a lot of proposers and seconders on the chat. This is most welcome. Let's continue using that mode of communication. And at this juncture, we'll move to the next, which is to receive the report for the year 2019. Once again, I'll hand back to the Honorary Secretary to cover that on behalf of the board.
Could have that put up as well. Thank you, Kwambo. Perhaps you could scroll through. So we sent out the annual report and accounts for 2019. Could scroll through, Kwambo. It's a lengthy document. I'm not sure we'll be able to go through it page by page. Let's proceed, Kwambo. So we'll cover the various dockets. KRU's mandate as a governing body. Just scroll through, please. National squads. We'll spend some time on national squads. Just a second. So administration, the AGM was held in March 2019. We have just gone through the minutes. The board appointed heads for the various committees. National squads and elite performance was Raymond Orlando, assisted by Oscar Mango. Leagues and local competitions was headed by Hilary Taylor. Development committee by Kikechi Kombo. Discipline and bylaws by Ian Mugambi. Communications and media committee, Ian Mugambi. Commercial committee was John Kilonzo, assisted by Thomas Opio. Finance and administration committee was Joshua Aroni and Ian Mugambi. And the women's committee was headed by Moses Ndali. Also to note that in January, the acting select 19. The board also co-opted 2 directors onto the board, namely Wangoi Kibe and Paris Mukoko. 4 clubs, Ngong RFC, Stingers, Dagoretti, Bulldogs, and Nakuru Kitty were affiliated, thus increasing the number of affiliated clubs to 48. National squads, there was no Rugby Africa competition after the title sponsor Kwese withdrew. Simbas finished second in the Victoria Cup competition. Simba suffered a 13-16 loss to Uganda on June 22nd, but were 16-5 winners over Uganda Cranes in Kampala, securing their Gold Cup title. We also have the results of the matches played. Shujaa finished 13th overall with a total of 37 points. Morans won the 22nd edition of the Tusker Safari Sevens, beating a strong Blitzbox side in the final. They also won the 2019 Africa Men's Sevens that doubled up as the qualifiers to the Tokyo Olympics. We have the honor roll for Shujaa. Lionesses ended their World Cup 7 Series qualifiers campaign after losing 5-17 to Brazil in the semi-final. We revived the women's 15s competition, kicking it off with the Elgon Cup fixtures, both home and away, that's in Kisumu and Kampala. And the ladies won both their matches. In August, they participated in the inaugural Rugby World Cup Women's qualifiers in Cape Town, beating Madagascar, Uganda, and losing to the eventual winner, South Africa. They finished. That's the honor roll for Lionesses. Chipu represented the country in Brazil during the World Rugby Under-20 tournament in July, where they finished 6th overall. The results, they won the 2019 Bates Trophy after beating Namibia. After beating both Tunisia and Namibia. The tournament was held at the KCB Sports Club on the 2 days. Domestic competitions, honor roll is as on the screen. With the Kenya Cup being won by KCB Rugby and the Cabra Sugar as runners-up. Eric Shirley Shield was won by KCB Rugby, Homeboys as runner-up. Northern Suburbs won the Nationwide with Eldoret RFC as runners-up, with Cabra Sugar winning the Enterprise Cup and Resolution plus Saracens as a runners-up. Training and education, courses that were run in 2019. Get into rugby, 38,300 boys and 18,720 girls participated in the GIR program. Women's rugby, great growth has continued to be witnessed in this area. Girls rugby remains a focus area for us. In 2019, discussions were started with KSSSA with a view to mainstreaming the girls event in the 2020 calendar. We did not manage to hold the girls regionals in all the regions as planned in 2019. The growth of the women's club has been increasing steadily, with the numbers now at 16 in 2019. Discipline and bylaws. Between January 2019 and March 2020, the following. We had 11 citations. We had 30 judicial hearings, including misconduct. We had 3 appeals. The number of judicial officers available has gone up to 6, with 4 appointed and 2 understudies as part of the expansion that has been done. We have 6 citing officers, with 1 being a World Rugby educator and 4 appeals officers. Finally, a designated disciplinary officer was appointed to deal with all misconduct issues not related to the on-pitch matters. Commercial. We had a number of sponsors in 2019 who came on board. Amara, courtesy of the Hako Industries, Betika, Bidco, Coca-Cola, Hemingways, Isuzu Motors, Peponi School, Radio Africa Group, Stanbic Bank, Tusker, and Zuku, courtesy of the 190 Group, up to June. Safari Sevens. Tusker came in as a title sponsor and covered most of the costs associated with the event. We had a full rota of 16 teams and the games were played over 2 days. Despite the heavy rainfall, we had good attendance. We also had Betika and Coca-Cola come in as sponsors. Media and communication. Kenya Cup Handles provided coverage for the 15s league week in, week out from November 2018 to May 2019 when the league ended. They also provided coverage across the nationwide league, the KRU Championship, and Kenya Cup itself. RAG through Bamba Sports covered each week of the league. Financial performance, I'll hand over to the honorary treasurer.
But the screen, but put on the screen, Michael, please. Wambo. Since we have a specific agenda on the financials, I request Chairman that maybe we can deal with the financials in detail.
Maybe because the board report is a substantive agenda item, my proposal is
yes,
maybe let's invite questions from affiliates on the board report. And then when we dispense with that, we can then move to the financial report, at which point I'll hand over to you and also to invite our auditors from PKF so that they can do the presentation of the audit report to the membership. So maybe at this moment, I will invite.
Thank you, Chairman. I think that's okay.
Yeah. I invite probably to post your question. It's probably more efficient. Or if there are not too many, if you raise your hand, I'll probably give you a chance. I think it's easier when you put your questions here, and that way I'm able to guide the deliberations better. Invite
yeah. Hello, Chair.
Prof.
Hi, I was looking for the knob for raising the hand, but I couldn't see it. So I just thought I'll toss that there. But I can make a very quick, just a quick question, just a quick clarification. Thank you for the previous presenters, and thank you for that highlight of what we've done. It really looks wonderful. Just a confirmation. Is it? Did I hear right that we have now 16 women clubs?
Of them.
You got my question? Hello.
Yeah, Prof, I just wanted to confirm that yes, indeed, that's the number that we have based on attendance of the KRU Women's League. I think a point came into a top tier and development tier as well, just so that you have a proper strength versus strength in the Women's League.
Okay, and we find out, but okay, so the Women League is based on clubs or it's based on regions?
It's based on activity in other and I just acknowledge that last year we had Kisumu Rugby also started their women's team, and yes. Okay, but
I think let's switch switch off videos, eh? Switch off videos, it can help, eh?
Shall we resume from the point we're talking about the women's Max's question on women's rugby? Would that be a fair place to start?
Yes.
I think
yes.
I just mentioned that obviously the board report was circulated last week, and so we'd like to believe that you had a chance to look at it, review it with your committees, and maybe the issue now is really to take any questions or comments from the affiliates in that report. So Max, just for your benefit, I was confirming that yes, indeed, we have 16 teams who have been playing in the Women's League. Most of the competitions are predominantly in Nairobi and Nakuru. And I also wanted to acknowledge that Kisumu was one of the new entrants last year, setting up the women's team, which did participate in the women's leagues competitions. So that was very encouraging in terms of the growth of the game.
Thank you.
I think if there's no further question or comment, may I just have a proposer and a seconder for the board report so we can adopt it. I'm requesting for a proposer and a seconder for the board report so that we can have it formally adopted by the meeting.
Chairman, proposed.
Thank you, Prof.
I second George Sagini.
Thank you, Brother Sagini. Asante. Appreciate that. Now move on to the third item.
If you're not,
for those who would like to speak to the meeting, please use the chat function. I'll certainly accord you an opportunity, but in the meantime, please have your phone on mute. At this juncture, maybe at the beginning, when a bit of a rush, we have a number of guests who are attending the meeting, representing various stakeholders of Kenya Rugby. And I just want to acknowledge the presence of John Bosco Mwamba, who is representing Rugby Africa. And as you know, we are affiliated to Rugby Africa, and Bosco plays a critical role in the training and education docket. So, karibu sana, Bosco. I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of the chairman of the Rugby Patron Society, Mr. Agri Chabeda, who is a former secretary of KRU and first chairman of the Bamburi Super Series. Karibu sana, Agri. And
thank
then,
you.
We also have important stakeholders and our Rugby Referees Association. I believe the Secretary Secretary Alfred Okwema. Let's welcome the team from PKF. And at this juncture, I'll hand over to our treasurer, Dr. Joshua Rumi, to take us through the financial report, and then also invite the auditor to talk about the audited audit opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone. Mike, please, can you put the accounts on the screen? Okay, thank you. Please scroll to the next page, Mike. Next, until we reach the accounts. Okay, there we are. Members, I want to present the accounts for 2019, and basically, in summary, I want to give a preview. Obviously, the principal activities of KRU is basically promoting the game of rugby, and in terms of overall performance, in summary, we managed to raise a revenue of 215,593,741. This was a drop from the previous year when we made a revenue of 227,837,744. Based on that, overall, we made a loss of 1,130,238 compared to a profit of the previous year of 527,104. And in terms of our liabilities, basically we remained at almost the same level. There was a very slight increase from 60.1 million to 61.3. Next page, please, Mike. Stay with the accounts, yes. Move down again. Mike, scroll down, please. Maybe as it scrolls down, I can mention that as per the reporting requirements of, there we are, Mike, of financial reporting standards. It is the responsibility of the board to prepare the accounts and to make full disclosure. And the previous page which we saw is actually a disclosure and the signing by the board to take ownership of the accounts that they are presented as per the standards, and they're presenting a full disclosure of all material facts relating to the financial transactions of KRU. So in this slide, I want to present the detailed income statement. And as you can see, we made a total of 215.5 million compared to the previous year, 227.8 in revenue. And then in terms of expenditure, on our national boards, we spent 116.3 million as compared to 132 million the previous year. Annual competitions also, there was a drop from 38.1 million 2018 to 48.4 in 2019. And on rugby development, we remained at almost the same level, a slight increase from 10.6 million to 10.9 in 2019. On admin expenses, also there was a drop from 40.7 million to 34.3 million. On establishment expenses, we also remained at almost the same level, 6.6 million in 2018 compared to 6.5 in 2018. It was a slight increase. So taking the revenue compared to overall total expenditure, we made a deficit of 1,130,000 compared to a revenue position in the previous year of 527,000. So taking in the previous year, we had an accumulated deficit of 60.8 million. Now taking account of the deficit which we experienced in 2019, we have a total deficit position of 61.9 million in 2019. Please move to the next page, the balance sheet, Mike. So basically, our strength, our financial position as a union is basically remaining in the same position with the deficit of 60.3 billion compared to 60.1 million, and much of it is basically represented in property and equipment, which we have property worth about 11.6 million compared to 13 million the previous year. On cash assets, we have a position of 68.5 million compared to 47 million the previous year. There is a significant, there is some improvement here, mainly on account of other financial assets, some investment funds, which we have, funds which we received from the government during the year. On current liabilities, we got an adverse position. There was an increase from 120.9 million to 141 million in 2019. So that gives us basically a net current liabilities of a negative 72.9 million compared to 73.2 million the previous year. So financially, in terms of our liabilities, basically, we have continued to remain in the same position as for the previous year. So overall, as I mentioned earlier, our financial strength stands at the negative of 61 billion. And go down, Mike, go down. In terms of cash flows, actually, we ended the year, go down, Mike. Scroll down. We end here with a negative position of cash, mainly because of credit card expenditure and owings which we have settled. Go to the next page. So basically, in terms of performance, that's the overall picture which I can give, but the detailed breakdown of all this information is actually presented in the notes below. And basically, I would tend to assume that members have gone through the accounts since they were shared earlier. And in case there are any issues which need clarification, we can do that. But maybe what I would need to mention is an emphasis which has been laid. Scroll down a little bit, Mike. There you are. There's an emphasis which has been laid on going concern, which mainly is a result of our drop in the sponsorships which we have been getting, and our liquidity is not been very robust the way it is expected to be. So that has been an issue which has tended to bring challenges. Also putting the KRU in occasional distress in terms of meeting obligations. Although we got funding from government, it is not significant, it's not substantial, and it wouldn't be of much help to help, particularly where we have brought legal debts, which we are dealing with. So, as mentioned here, the board is making every effort to try and get into new sponsorship, to raise revenue, and to try and sustain ourselves and ensure our activities are not jeopardized by lack of resources. So I think I would allow Chairman, if there are any questions which members want to ask, they can do so. But in case there is anything that requires clarification, actually the notes which are presented here do provide that information. Maybe before questions are asked, Chairman, I would invite our auditor, external auditor PKF, Joseph is attending, to also give their opinion and make a comment on the accounts. Thank you, Chairman.
Asante sana daktari.
Thank you very much, Treasurer. My name is Joseph Gure. Good afternoon, all members. And mine this afternoon is to present to the members of Kenya Rugby Union the audit report on our audit of the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2019. And first, I can start by confirming that the numbers presented to you by the Treasurer are indeed the numbers that we audited. And in terms of the audit report, the audit report is on pages number 5 to pages number 7 of the financial statements and annual report. But I'll not read the entire report, so I'll just do brief highlights of the key issues. And I'll start by confirming that indeed we've audited the financial statements of Kenya Rugby Football Union for the year ended 31st December 2019. And our audit was conducted in line with the international financial reporting, international standards on auditing. As Treasurer has pointed out, the responsibility for the preparation of the financial statements lie with the directors, and the directors should also make sure that there are internal controls put in place to ensure that the financial statements that are being prepared are free from any material misstatements. Our responsibility as auditors is to audit the financial statements as has been prepared by the directors. Of course, the directors will delegate that responsibility to the management and the finance team, but instill the ultimate responsibility for this preparation of the financial statement will still lie with the directors. So as auditors, we are saying our responsibility is to audit the financial statements that have been prepared by the directors and give an opinion as to whether these financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial positions and operations of the union for a particular year. And for us to be able to give that opinion, we have to obtain what we call reasonable assurance as to whether the financial statements reflect the correct position. I would confirm that indeed we have obtained all the evidence and the explanations that we thought or we deemed to have been necessary for us to be in a position to give an opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of Kenya Rugby Union, Football Union, as at 31st December 2019, and of its financial performance and cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the international financial reporting standards for small and medium-sized entities. So that's what we call an unqualified audit opinion. But as Treasurer has mentioned, if you look at our audit report, you will see there is a paragraph we've highlighted, which is raising the issue of going concern. And our concern is that when you look at the One, the income and expenditure statement of the union for the year ended 31st December 2019. You see there was a deficit of 1.1 million. And what that is meaning is that our expenditure were more than the income that we managed to raise during that year. In addition to that, if you go to the balance sheet, you see the accumulated deficit of 61.3 million. That means that over the years, our expenses have been more than our income, and that is the accumulated deficit. And that accumulated deficit will mean that there will be some expenses that we've expensed, but probably we've not paid. So it's lying in our liabilities. And that's why if you go down in the balance sheet and look at the current liabilities of the union, that is what you'll be expected to pay within the next 1 year, stands at 141 million. But if you look at your current assets or what you can realize within the same period, you'll see that the current assets position is only 68 million. Yeah. So what means that means even if you are to receive all your debtors totaling to 22 million, and of course you have your cash of 851,000, and this investment in money markets of 45. Even if you are to use these to pay your liabilities, you still be short by 72 million. And again, assuming even you go further away and try and even liquidate your assets of 11 million, it will still not settle your total liabilities. There will still be a gap. And that's why there is an issue of going concern, the ability of the union to continue operating as a going concern. I think for you to be able to get out of this, you may need to get funding that is unrestricted. Not what I mean by not restricted is that there are funds that you can apply to settle maybe your previous obligations. Yeah, but if you get funds for specific projects, still these liabilities will continue to be in your book. And that's the reason that we are saying that without modifying our opinion, we draw attention to the financial statements, which indicates that the union current liabilities exceeded current assets by 72.9 million, compared to in 2018 it was 73.2 million. And there was a deficiency in accumulated fund of 61 million. And these conditions indicates existence of material uncertainty that casts significant doubt of the union's ability to continue operating as a going concern. We've not qualified our opinion, but we are just bringing out this issue so that someone looking at these accounts will be cognizant of that fact. Of course, we've considered the measures that have been put in place by the board as outlined on whatever is on the screen. That is taking proactive measures to engage the government to get additional funding. And the fact that you submitted a budget to the government totaling to 322 million, which you expect some funding to come through from the government through the ministry. Then the fact that at the end of the year, you had some 46.5 million, which had been received from the Ministry of Youth and Support. Of course, this is for the activities that are to be carried out in the year 2020. And also there's another measure that is being taken to spread tournament in different venues outside Nairobi, which would help in increasing revenue collections. That was a plan, but of course it will be impacted by the current COVID situation, which of course, for sure it has had an impact on the operations of the union, and even I would say probably on the funding side of things. So that's just the highlight that you are giving on the going concern ability of the union. So that summarizes our audit opinion. Thank you very much. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ngure and the PKF team. Maybe I would want members to ask any questions on financial statements. Please let's use the chat function for ease of coordination. And during Ngure and Dr. Roni, they'll be able to respond to questions on the finance.
Sorry, Chairman, George Mbai here from Mwamba. Just as a guide in terms of giving direction, in terms of an AGM, I don't think it would make sense for us to ask questions on the chat. Probably accounts need other issues we can ask on the chat, but as regards accounts, I think it will only be fair that we are allowed to ask the question and we get a proper and direct response, because for accounts, the issues I think are very specific.
No, I think it's for me to know who wants to ask a question, because if everyone talks simultaneously, then we'll have a disorderly meeting. But you see, if I see I already have 2 or 3 people who have indicated they want to ask questions, so I'll give you an opportunity.
Oh, sorry, I thought I would even take advantage of the fact that I was on the floor, but also, let me type so that I'm queued.
but because you're already on the floor, you can start.
Okay, just a few concerns for me, and probably start with Mr. Aroni, the treasurer. I think you have indicated that the responsibility to give full disclosure. So for me, just a few concerns in terms of disclosure. Number one, from the accounts, I can quickly pick that we have income from the government of Kenya. Looking at the going concern section in the accounts, it indicates that we received 79.8. But if you go to note 4, it actually does not indicate that, yeah, number one. So I think in terms of the income from government of Kenya, I think it would make sense for us to have a proper breakdown, because we're just told we received money from the government of Kenya, but we don't have a proper breakdown. Number 2, I think you mentioned investment of funds. Can we also, in terms of the spirit of full disclosure, be able to be specific and say, we have 10 million invested in a bank account in form of shares? Because part of our concern as clubs, and I speak for Mwamba, for example, the union owes clubs money in terms of, prize money and split 10% commission from sponsorships. But as opposed to, if there's an investment like this one, then it means it's important for us to know, so that we know when it is due, how long you're investing it, so that we can also cue ourselves in terms of how we benefit from that. Number 3, national squads. I think we see national squads operations, but also full disclosure, breakdown. I mean, it's important so that we don't just post a figure. Then for the auditor, and I think it's for the auditor and Aroni, at note 19, we see deferred income. My understanding of deferred income from government of Kenya. My understanding of deferred income is that this is revenue that is realized in one reporting period, but is earned in a subsequent period or realized in a subsequent period. So what the auditor needs to tell us, this 46.5, what is the basis of you saying this is deferred income? Is there an undertaking from the government? Are we relying on an undertaking? Are we relying on a letter? Have the funds been committed? Then for the union, for the board, I think another concern is that, and the auditor said it, whether we are actually able to keep operating with our current situation. Then I think a general concern from all AGMs that we've had, the development vote either keeps going down or is just constant. So I think for a starting point, I think those issues need to be clarified.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. I'll ask Treasurer, even those are 5 questions, maybe let's respond to those ones, and then I'll have a couple more after that. Over to you, Bwana Treasurer.
Thank you, Chairman. Start off with the first question, which deals with the funding we got from government. And I think in terms of disclosure, it's true that we received 79.8 million. And if you go to the detailed, where we have got detailed presentation of where actually the money came from, which is on page 21, you would actually be able to see specifically what we received from government of Kenya, from wherever, including even from EADL, it's all broken down there. But for government of Kenya, if you look, we have disclosed that in 2019, we received a figure of 36.6 million. And while on that, I think I also need to clarify that deferred income, the way Chairman Mwamba has described it, it's not what it is. What it is that you have received funding that doesn't relate to your current year. So the 45 million, which is presented there as deferred income, is received in advance in 2019, but it was meant to cover the period from 2020. So it's actually an income you have received, but it's deferred to the coming year. So taken together with what is disclosed as government funding in 2019, that's 6.6 million, with what is deferred income, that makes a full disclosure of the funding which we got from government. And then in terms of the funding we received, again, in this down, you can actually see, for example, from Radio Africa, we received a total of 27.4 million. If you want, then maybe you would want to get a special report on the breakdown of 27.4 million. But that is the total funding which was received, and it is disclosed in the breakdown of the funding which was received. And in terms of operating activities, I think we have explained that in detail, that this is a challenge which all of us as stakeholders, we are faced of, and we know that we have faced challenges to get new sponsorship. And the board has been very, very active before the COVID-19 to try and get new engagements. And there were quite a number of deals which were lined up, which have obviously not come through because of the COVID situation. But I think at the moment we get over that, maybe we can again re-engage and see if we can be able to get those partnerships. That again comes into this going concern, which is an issue which Chairman Mwamba is raising. But much as such is that way, we have already pointed out that we are not laying back and not doing anything. There are proactive measures, including engagement with the government to try and increase the funding they are giving to us. As you have seen, we indicated we put a budget of about 322 million, but we only got about 79 million, which is almost about a quarter of the total funding which we requested. And before COVID, I think again we were still engaging with the government to try and get the funding to be released. So in terms of disclosure, I think by and large that is really something which we try to do. If somebody or further details are required, these are available basically to show specifically in terms of the date, when the amount was received, when it was paid, to which account. I think that all that information is available and it is actually disclosed under the breakdown of revenues. So I would allow then Joseph, if he has a comment to make on those questions, then he can do so now.
Chairman, I'd be interested to hear the auditor's definition of that deferred income. I really want to disagree with Ronnie that deferred income is income received and accounted for, as opposed to income revenue realized in one reporting period but earned in the next.
Okay, Joseph here, the auditor. In terms of the funding from the Ministry of Youth and Sport during the year, I can confirm that we received about 79 million. But when you look at the agreement with them, that money was to cover operations within a specific period of time. But that specific period of time was not lying within the audit, the financial year that we are auditing or that we are reporting. Yeah. So what happens is you account for the income that relates to activities that were carried out in the particular year that you're looking at as income, which has been done. I think Joshua has pointed that the 36 million. That's already been accounted for as income for the current year because the activities were carried out in the current year. But there's an additional amount that came, but for activities that are not going to happen in the current year. If you are to show that as part of the income for the current year, what will happen is that you'll end up showing a very huge surplus. Why? Because you're showing income, the full amount, but the expenses is only shown partly. So for there to be a matching, you match the income and the expenses, then you have to recognize whatever was received during the year, but relates to activities to be carried out in the following year as deferred income. And that's what you've done. And that's why we are showing a deferred income of 46.5 million in the balance sheet, because you're saying this then will be recognized as income in the year 2020, and then the expenses relating to the same will be booked so that again the two will be matched. So if you show the whole amount as income, then you'll end up showing like you have a very huge surplus, which is not the case. Then it will be a bit misleading. That's why we bring in the deferred income aspect. And I believe this is the deferred income that has been invested in the money market fund, which is, again, I think the other issue that you're asking about the investment, what it relates to. This money market line, our understanding is that it will earn interest, but you can call it anytime that you require those funds. So again, it's been put there probably to earn some interest as it's not being used all of it at the same time.
So now in terms of full disclosure, are you saying that 46.5 million has been put in the money market? Maybe
Joshua, you can confirm whether
you see, that is why I wanted to hear from you, Mr. Ngure.
Yes.
As regards Mr. Aroni's definition of deferred income, because when I spoke about deferred income, my understanding was that revenue has been realized already.
It has been received.
Realized, received, I mean, apples, yeah? So it has been realized, it has been received.
It has been received, but you are not showing it as income in your income and expenditure statement.
Exactly. So that.
Sorry, Chairman, please put off your video.
Okay, Chairman. Thanks, Chairman. So that for me, the issue is when you just say deferred income, as a member,
yes,
you're not telling me that 46 million has been received from the government and has been invested, correct?
It has been received, but the expenses, it relates to expenses that will be incurred in 2020. So we'll not show it in the income and expenditure statement for 2019. We'll show it as deferred income, because if you don't use it for the activities, the assumption is if you don't use it for the activities that was stipulated, you may be required to either refund it back, but it has to be used for the activities that was stipulated.
Okay, so now that we agree on the definition,
yes,
full disclosure,
yes,
46.5.
yes.
What form of investment? Where? Which
You see,
broker?
ideally, since this money has not been spent, you'd expect to see it in the cash and bank or in the bank balances. Yeah. Sure.
No, I'm talking about the investment.
Yes.
Money market.
Yes.
So has the money been invested in the money market?
That's what you're showing us under other financial assets in the balance sheet. Just maybe whoever has the accounts can put them on the screen.
Yeah, I have seen them, but I'm actually asking: has the money been invested? Is it earning interest?
Yes.
Where?
Yes.
Where? Which where? That's
Joseph.
Disclosure.
Okay, can I clarify that, Joseph?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, if you look at the financials, if you look at the under page, if you look at, we got page 9. There is under current assets, there is other financial assets. That's actually an investment which was placed in a money market fund, and the total amount which was placed under investment was 45 million. The 189,971 is the interest which has been earned for the period between November and December. So you can see indeed, yes, the money has been invested and it's earning interest. To answer your question, Chairman Mwamba. And actually you can see, if you go down to the detailed disclosure on the sources of the incomes, you will see one source under note 5, other income, which identifies investment income of 189,971. So I think that informs you that indeed the money has been invested and already it is earning some revenue for the Kenya Rugby Union. Thank you, Chairman.
Anyway, I leave it at that. I've asked where and other details, but I think I will be taking over the show from everybody else. So let me leave it at that.
No problem. As to where, I think we can disclose. It's not the money has been invested in a fund, and it is actually Pritam. Pritam is one of the major, fund management firms. So they have got various products which you can invest in. And I think the board took a decision that since we have this money and we are struggling to raise sources of making money, we thought that if we put it there, it can be able to generate some money for the union in the short term as we look for other sources to raise money. Yes, the money is invested in Pritam.
Thank you, Mr. Roni.
Yes.
Thank you, George. I've received, so we'll take questions in batches it's difficult to know whether all these are questions, but I have Max Muniafu, followed by Charles Chege, then George Sagili, and then Bosire Kalu.
Chairman, I think you've skipped me.
Sorry. Okay, let's start again. I'm just moving up on the group chat. Philip, Max, Charles Chege, then and Auka as well. Let's go in that order. Philip, over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. I had two questions. One was, I think, based on the presentation, but I think the presentation has lapsed. So I don't know at what point I'll be able to ask. But mine in regards to the financials is in regards to the union seems to have receivables of 22 million, which is quite a huge amount of money not collected. We've seen in the past where the union is being auctioned for not paying its debts. I just want to know what plan the union has to collect these receivables and pay off the payables of 92 million. And if we have any plans of auctioning these people who owe us money.
Okay. Thank you, Philip. Auka?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mine is very simple and it addresses the issue of the going concern. Huge deficit, not really huge deficit. First, I think, in all honesty, we did slightly well to stay within $1 million bob of the deficit. So my biggest concern is that this year with Corona, nothing has happened. No income will come in as it is. Maybe even Safari 7 is one of our biggest income earners will not happen. Surely, it looks like we will we will close down KRU by next year, same time. I think that's a huge issue that then this meeting needs to address and ask how we're going to mitigate against that. Thank you.
Okay, Professor Munia. Let's take one more question. Wanjala Michael, Kenya Harlequins.
I think George Mbai of Mwamba asked everything I wanted to ask, so I will pass for now.
Okay, thank you. Maybe let's take those ones. Please, as you put your name, just indicate you have a question so that it's easy for us to see. Because it seems there's a conflict between people registering and indicating their questions. So maybe I'll hand over to our treasurer to talk about to respond to Philip.
Thank you, Chairman. I can start off with a question raised by Chairman Kapras with regard to what we are doing about the recoverables. Yes, we have about 22 million, and part of it has already been paid between the period January to now. But there is an amount there which is about 11 million, which we have already taken further steps to recover. And what we have done, we have actually gone to a legal process. And in the last, I think, 1 month, already we are getting into more or less what I can call an understanding where we would have a settlement without necessarily going through the whole process of recoverability. So I want to confirm that indeed the board is taking proactive measures to recover this money, and whatever has not been paid so far, already we are in the process of signing an MOU on how it should be paid and by when. And I think part of it should be paid in the next 14 days. So I think proactively, there are measures being undertaken to recover some of these spending debts. In terms of going concern, when this COVID came, the board took some steps very quickly in terms of managing costs. We realized that we scaled down on the staff cost, and then partially we sent some staff on unpaid leave, and certain of the costs relating to maintenance and all that have been scaled down. So much as we don't have the income, which we are cognizant of, we have also proactively taken deliberate steps to cut down on costs so that we live within what can be available. But yes, indeed, you are right, Chairman Nondis, that this is a concern. So, and the only way to get out of this is to get into new partnerships and to raise funding. And in the meantime, we also engage with the government. But unfortunately, right now, the government focus is on the current pandemic, which looks like it doesn't give an open window for funding to be distributed to sports, and the fact that sporting activities were suspended. So, and the key issue is that we can only get out of this if we can engage with the new partnerships and even the existing one to be able to get revenues. I think, Chairman, those were the two questions which were raised by the two chairmen.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Is there any other question on this? I'm a bit, there's a lot of names here. Admitted some people have registered. If there are none, may I have a proposer and a seconder to, so that we can adopt the financial report? Proposal for the accounts. Members, I hope we've answered all the questions. I don't see any other requests for questions, so I'm asking again, may we have a proposer and a seconder for the accounts?
I will propose.
Thank you.
Black blood, I second.
Thank you, Chairman Moto. Thank you, members, and just as we wrap up the accounts, we, as a board, we want to also just express our gratitude to the team from PKF who have been very supportive to KRU for many years, and they've been very professional in their approach to the work. Our recommendation as a board to the AGM was for the members to PKF had expressed their willingness to continue to serve as auditors. And we wanted as a board that we appoint PKF to continue to serve in office, and that the board be mandated to negotiate with them on the terms of the audit engagement.
Thank you, Chair.
Maybe at this moment, I'll ask Wanangure maybe you can excuse you, and even as we deliberate on that matter. But thank you very much for the work done, and we are very grateful. We will get back to you after the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. Very much appreciated.
Okay, so members, you've had our recommendation. Auka, please proceed.
Gangi, I'm sure you're referring to my raised hand. I think that was before for asking the question.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think I've already asked. Maybe I'm struggling with technology on how to remove it, but yeah, I'll deal with that shortly.
Of the auditor, now that I have you,
no, I mean, we are happy. I mean, as Nondis, we are happy to propose that PKF continue with the audit of KRU. However, with some of the matters that he has raised, I think one of the issues that then we put to KRU is to get a discounted rate for them for the services that they're offering. I mean, we are struggling as a going concern. We need to get savings from wherever we can get them. And I think it will be a good gesture from their side if they can also look at the numbers that they charge KRU and see if we can get a saving there. Thank you.
Asante sana, your comments are noted, and actually that is why our resolution is crafted, that the board will go and negotiate fees with them. We're also cognizant with the lack of activities. Obviously, the volume of work is much lower than it was last year. So we anticipate the fees will also reflect that.
Great.
Second, for the appointment of PKF, thanks, Chairman Dashan. I've seen your whatever, and yeah, the comments around fee reduction are noted, and we'll work on that basis. Okay, at this juncture, I think we've covered the substantive matters on the main agenda of the meeting. So I want to move to the AOBs. So we have three motions. We have three motions for the The first relates to the affiliation of new members. And then we have a motion from Nakuru, and we also have a motion from Nomlis. So maybe let's deal with the issue of the affiliation first.
Can you hear anything?
Okay. In terms of members to be affiliated to the Kenya Rugby Union, we have received proposals from affiliates to affiliate 5 clubs. The clubs are administration police warriors who have been proposed by Catholic University and seconded by Daystar is Meru RFC, who have been proposed by Embu RFC and seconded by Kiambu. The third club is Chuka Vikings, which has been proposed by Kiambu RFC and seconded by Embu RFC and Stingers. The fourth club is Sitam Kisumu. They've sent their paperwork, but unfortunately they don't have a proposer and a seconder. And then we have Vihiga Granites as well, who have sent part of their paperwork, but they don't have a proposer and a seconder. We just put on the screen, when any club asks KRU to be affiliated, the current constitution requires us, and regulations requires us to do some investigation as the union, and the clubs are required to fulfill certain requirements. And it's on the basis of the fulfillment of these requirements that you can then really be forwarded to the AGM as an affiliate, as a member of affiliation. In addition to this, there is obviously the honoring fixtures and the like, and it's good that these clubs have been honoring fixtures close to 90% most of the times. The only club that has met all the requirements is the Administration Police Warriors, RFC. And our proposal as the board is for the members to consider affiliating them because they're fully compliant with all the requirements and have also got the registration from the sports registrar. So that is our proposal for the AGM to deliberate.
Hello. Chairman.
Yes, Philip.
I think.
Mr. Chairman.
Sorry, Mukabane. I think Philip got
is it
my
open
attention.
for us to?
Yes,
Chairman.
just put your name here and I'll give you a chance.
Hello, Mr. Hello, Chairman.
Sorry, please.
Is it open? Is it open for us to ask?
Yes, yes, I'll give you a chance. I've given a chance to Philip Mukabane. Just put your name, I'll give you next. Philip got my attention first, so let's hear Philip.
Chairman, I'm actually happy that AP has applied for affiliation because it brings memories of Ulinzi, who contributed a lot to the game and to the sport. And Mr. Chairman, I think AP, being a young club and has shown exemplary participation in the lower leagues and consistently played in the 7th circuit. Mr. Chairman, I would like to plead with members to please affiliate AP, because I believe it is a club that will contribute a lot to the sport of this country, especially in regards to discipline, as them coming from the disciplined forces, and also in regards to quality players. I believe AP is a club for the future that is going to contribute a lot of players towards the national team. So as Cabras, we would like to support actually the affiliation of AP, and we would like to plead with members on the floor that please let us affiliate this club, as it brings good memories of what Ulinzi contributed to the history of rugby in this country. Thank you.
Thank you. Mukabane, Embu.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, now I can hear you clearly. As a proposer to Meru RFC, and also, yes, Mr. Chairman, you can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I was just curious, as a proposer of Meru RFC and Chuka RFC, I also seconded them. And all these clubs are from Central Region. Before proposing them, you know, we had also checked their documents. I don't know what particular item of the due diligence that we were not able to advise them, so that probably we can pick it up with them. Because, you know, in the spirit of handshake, it is important that also Central Rugby grows. It is in our interest. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mukabane. I think just to set this out, I think our regulations are drawn really from the Sports Act and our Constitution in terms of the eligibility criteria of who becomes a member. Now, one of the most important things today for you to even be a member, because we then have to go file any new members, is that you have to first be, as a club, be registered under the Sports Act. And I think you've seen in all the federations, and I think the FKF case is just one to show what's happening around registration and just getting our house in order from a governance point of view. And I think the sports registrars even come and asked the existing affiliates to all work towards complying with the Sports Act. So in the case of Meru and Chuka, I think the thing missing really is the registration with the Sports Act. So that has to be addressed because it's actually the first requirement in the list of requirements for new affiliates. So yeah, we understand the handshake etc, but also the law requires us to comply with this requirement. So maybe it was a bit lax before, but right now we are under enormous pressure for governance to be in place in all the clubs.
Mr. Chairman, can you hear me?
Yes, but Mugambi.
Yes, sir. I wanted to comment on an issue of our registration.
Sorry, Madam Mugambi.
Yes.
Sorry. This is a meeting for members.
But we did our registration and we said the process that you can confirm from the ministry that we started the process of registration.
Sorry, Mr. Mugambi. Like I told you, this is a meeting for members. So I'm not even able to respond to your question.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me maybe rescue Mr. Mugambi here. As we were discussing, yes, as we were discussing with the Chairman Meru about the meeting the threshold of the requirements required by Sports Act and the KRU. We actually looked at how far they had gone in terms of registration with the Sports Act, and they had started the process. And as you know, there are some delays on the side of Ministry of Sports in terms of ratifying in terms of their processes. But I can confirm that they had started their process in terms of handing their necessary documents and all. So I don't know if you can consider with those remarks.
Thanks, Bwana Mukabani. I think the problem we face is when we go to now file our returns as KRU, and if we admit new members who don't meet the requirements, then we are actually falling foul of the law. So that's the only problem we face. So we do sympathize with Meru's case. I know they've been playing matches and they're very keen to come into the game. I know Mugambi has been a strong servant of the game for many years in that region. But I think that governance is almost a yes or no. So there's very little we can do to accommodate them at this stage. But certainly, if they continue that way, then at the next round of meetings, their application can be considered. I think they also need to, I've just gotten some additional notes. I think their own constitutive documents need to just be in order as well, but we'll respond substantively to them. I can see on the chart quite a number of clubs are in support of AP Warriors affiliation. I can see Masaku, Shepherds, Mbale, Black Blood, and Homeboys all in support. And so I think the mood of the meeting to me is that we should affiliate AP Warriors, given the strong support from the affiliates. And certainly we've watched AP Warriors grow from strength to strength over the last 3 years that they've been playing. We're happy to welcome them to the rugby family.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Of course, as Black Blood, we strongly support AP because of what they've done. And I think our Cabra's chair has really elucidated a lot of things that they've done, and they are a very competitive side. We all agree with that. Now, I also think we should also consider the other members. For example, we have Chuka, Meru, Sitam, and Viga. I know you've explained well what is entailed, and I know the process is not that easy. But a team like Chuka, they even have a ladies' side, so they have a women's side who are competing. So I think they've really done a lot. And if they are in the process, maybe we can allow them, we can support them, and maybe make them be part of the affiliates, because getting that thing is also not easy. But if they are showing some sort of improvement, then I think we can give them a chance for the spirit of the game, so that at least you can make the game go to the grassroots and everybody to be on board. I think that's my 2 cents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moto. I think I just want to implore on all affiliates, please let's take this issue of the sports registrar very seriously. It affects our relationship with government in a very big way. It also affects the, it's a legal requirement. It's not really my requirement. So it's very hard for me to sit here and say, let us knowingly flout the law. I know in the past we've not been very rigorous in this respect, but I think even the sports registrar, you'll agree with me, has become a lot more assertive in terms of how they're regulating sports federations. And a time is coming when you may not even be able to sit in this meeting if you're not registered by the Sports Act, even for existing affiliates. So please take this opportunity to put our house in order as Kenya Rugby.
I fully agree with you, Mr. Chairman. And I mean, talking about maybe Chuka, being an institutional side, I know there's some challenges also accompanying that, the registration process and everything. Now, is there a way that we can say maybe we give them about 6 months so that, they can be affiliate as long as in 6 months they are able to maybe achieve all the records that they're supposed to do by that time? I think that one will be a good of you so that they can also be in the process. Thank you.
Chairman, if I may, I think in terms of compliance, I'm not disagreeing with with the motto, but you cannot say that you'll be allowed to, as a Kenyan citizen, you'll be allowed to vote without an ID as long as you get an ID in 6 months. So I think in terms of affiliation, let's stick to the rules. Let's ensure that people comply first. They give us proof of confirmation, then you can affiliate.
Chairman, if I may, on the same, as you stated, we also have affiliates who have not complied with the Sports Act. So if we can have a leeway of affiliating them on probation, they be confirmed once they provide the evidence that they have done so. And also to urge members that we should fully comply with the Sports Act, as the chairman has urged us. So Gijo, to answer you, we also have affiliates who vote without the ID. That's the Sports Act.
For your information, unless things have changed, there's only one club that has complied with the Sports Act, and that was confirmed by the Registrar of Sports. So that's compliance and all. Apple, we cannot debate.
I think when Chege, KRU's mission is to grow the game and to deepen the game. And it is for that reason that we actually allow all non-affiliates to play in the KRU leagues. In other countries, that would not even be possible. Yeah, they would not, unless they were a member. So we've already shown our goodwill to all the emerging clubs. But I think the onus really is on the clubs to also do their bit so that we can run an organized entity. And that is why the board took the decision. Let's just stick to the rules so that life is easy for everyone. And for the guys who haven't complied, I think the days ahead are much tougher for us as a federation. I think we have, just looking also at the chat, we have seen quite a lot of support for AP. So let's confirm AP. And Wana Mukabane, we are here to support Meru complete that journey. So if there's anything you can do as KRU to help them complete the registration, we'll be happy to do so. So they just need to stay in touch with the office, because the office has been helping clubs as much as possible to walk through these processes. I think even last year, in 2018, we got forms, we sent them around, the sports registrar, we coordinated with her. She went around the country trying to encourage clubs to register. So this thing is a serious undertaking from government. So I think with those comments, let's leave that motion of affiliation as is, and maybe we now move to the
Stop it.
Hello? Hello, is the meeting ongoing?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also here.
We confirm we're here. We confirm we're here, some of us.
We seem to have lost
Some guys started a different WhatsApp group and threw me out.
No, I think it's just some technological errors.
I think the only person they have left for us here is Aroni, so that they join that other WhatsApp. Okay.
Is the vice chair there? Is there a vice chair?
He's with the chairman. He's seated with the chairman.
So he could have continued.
Yeah, you know, Aaron is a designated survivor. He was put in another room.
The vice chair is chatting.
So we can throw Ronnie out, we pass resolutions, and then we send them by email.
Would that be constitutional?
Yes,
we
it
are
was
the
during the
owners
AGM.
we are the owners of
We
the
have a quorum. We have a quorum. What do you mean?
It was during the AGM.
Yeah. First year we got lost. Oh, okay, get back. Okay, they're getting back soon. I think technology issues.
Joshua, thank you for saving the day. And I notice you are in San Francisco. You there for rugby?
Yeah. No. Paso, no, not San Francisco.
Can see the bridge behind you.
No.
Well done.
Okay. That's just a background. You know, when you are in a place, times in a green home or somebody, you know, you get this kind of things, and they make the background look good.
Are you being modest?
Auka, you're saying because of COVID, you can see San Francisco from Keroka.
I'm telling you.
Atauka can see San Francisco from Keroka. That's serious.
You can't see Joshua is in San Francisco.
I can see.
I was not joking, guys. Look at the background of Joshua.
No, but that's just the background.
Perception is everything.
True.
Joshua.
Yes, please.
I hope you guys will allow the female members of the board to say something. I mean, how can we have a whole AGM full of male testosterone?
Let me information. I think it's important, and I agree with you. Let me pass that information to chairman.
Yes, they need to give us their experience.
Yes.
In the board, and at least tell us if we are on the right track and what they think we should do better for women. I mean, we can't have an AGM where there's a lot of male testosterone and no female voice.
Okay.
Philip, why are you threatening us?
Philip is threatening the chair.
The chair, and we hear is now signing players from New Zealand because that is the only place where rugby is being played.
COVID-free.
He's signing from Waikato.
George, you are out of order. You should be bad.
Just leave alone Philip. I think Philip is in his own class.
George, you should be bad from there.
But you know, when you say New Zealand, of course, it's a light touch. We are not too sure if the former Kenya 15 coaches left or you have been accommodating them.
Are you saying you've cited him in town?
Yeah, I saw Philip having lunch with some old Odieros, so I did, but I was a bit too far, social distancing.
Snook.
Yeah, that must have been snook.
In South Africa, snook is a fish.
Hey, Moses Ndale. In the same light of having the female, the ladies of KRU board speak, can also some members speak, like yourselves, like Mango, Ray Orlando. You want us to run this meeting in Cheng?
I think Kenya can start chairing this meeting.
Dale can represent since he's in charge of the female.
The women's side.
Yeah, he can represent.
Representing a bui.
Are you saying Dale is not only representing women but speaking on their behalf?
How about the chairman is being optional?
Chairman, you're back. We can see you.
His video is off.
In the spirit of Bui Bui, I think he should say something now that Friday is a holiday.
You need to unmute the chairman. Unmute the chairman.
Chairman, we were requesting.
You can do as a loose mbuzi.
Sorry?
We were
requesting a
requesting.
loose mbuzi now that Friday is a holiday.
Chairman, we were requesting.
You know, first, we've not even collected subs.
Due to COVID.
Wi-Fi inakatwa pap.
Madeni.
No, Dr. Ron is waiting for his subs. Eh?
But if GOK and banks are waiving loans or giving extensions, how do you collect subs?